Hello everyone, welcome to RaceSpotTV for a new season of 60 plus racing adventures. We start off this season at Watkins Glen and we have a new car for 60 plus racing adventures, the brand new Indy Pro 2000 PM18. Everyone, it seems, is massively excited for it because we have a thoroughly stacked grid of more than 50 drivers for this opening round of 60 plus racing adventures. Like I said, we're here at Watkins Glen. The weather is absolutely lovely. We're running the boot layout with the bus stop. Fantastic circuit, great racing. Everyone loves it here at Watkins Glen, and we're looking forward to 2 races coming up today. I'm David Haynes. Paul Smith is producing. He's also alongside me. Paul, big grid. Everyone seems absolutely thrilled about this new car for this new season. Well, Paul will get his microphone on the broadcast shortly, but in the meantime, here is a look at our schedule. Extended schedule this season, up to 13 weeks because of the leap season that we are having. But here's what RaceSpot coverage is going to look like of this season. We're starting here at Watkins Glen, then go to Road America, Phoenix Oval, Indy Road, Montreal, then we're going to catch up again. It's round 6 at Sebring. Everyone loves Sebring. You can see the rest of the schedule there, and then the Nürburgring Nordschleife to round it out in September, Paul.
Yeah, certainly are. There we go. We're all working now. Yes, I'm looking forward to this new season. Of course, 3 broadcasts as always on RaceSpotTV, and it always produces great racing. But with this size of field, I mean, we're looking at about 53 cars. It's going to be a bit hectic out there, especially around Watkins Glen. You know that through turns 2 and 3, the S's, you can have real sort of snare ups and track being blocked. So hopefully that does not happen today, but it has happened in the past in broadcast. So touch wood, we'll be all good, and we'll be having some fantastic racing throughout the field.
Yeah, indeed. Let's talk about that race format that we have today. We've got 2 20-lap races. Qualifying's underway for race 1 right now. Then we'll have that 20-lap race 1. And then there's qualifying again, separate qualifying to set the grid for race 2. And of course, as always in 60 plus racing adventures, a unique points situation where at the end of the round, the amount of points you take into the championship is whichever was your best result of race 1 or race 2. So qualifying has just finished. We're going to have that full pace lap, so let's take the time right now to have a look at the grid. New era, new car, and it's Remigio De Pasqua who's going to start on pole for Team Italian Turtles. Donald Poole very, very close there in second place, just 0.06 of a second behind. He's still going to start on the front row. Behind them is going to be Bruce Granheim and Jos van der Ven. Previous champion in this league, returning. Good qualifying for him there. Leroy Coppedge in 5th, last season's champion and a multiple-time champion and race winner in 60 plus racing adventures. Everyone wants to beat Stefan Roestjen, and he's going to start from 6th. And then John Morgan is in 7th. Got Kenneth Baldwin in 8th. 9th place is Andrew Fiddler. We got Randy Shoemake in 10th. John Unsby, always in the black and yellow, in 11th. And then Russ Addy is in 12th, Paul.
Yeah, certainly. 13th for Donald Fitterer then, ahead of Bob Kernan 14th. 15th for Mike McCormack with Mark Robertson. Interesting to see how different drivers take on the new cars, but Robertson down in 16th place. Lewis Canal 17th ahead of Paul Stump in 18th. Urs Muller and Leif Helberg round out the 20th spot. Greg Garris and Kenneth Dummer, another one of the Team Morgan drivers, down in 22nd with Joel Martin and Michael Bailey there.
Yeah, indeed. Plenty of, a couple of new names and lots of returning names as well. Some names we maybe haven't seen in a little while. They're all out for this round. We've got Richard Valley in 25th, Bill Krause 26th. As you can see, the grid starting to roll away for the formation lap. Barry Hills 27th, Jack Turner in 28th. And after that, Bruce Poole in 29th, Gerard Flores in 30th, David Sestello 31st, France Brink in 32nd, Greg Gilman, Ian Wilson, David Riley, Richard Coulomb starting 36th. He might be someone who moves up a little further. He's a very familiar name in this series. So too is Charles Gilly in 37th, Scott Gallo, Gianni Raspaldo in 39th. Maybe we'll see him race up through the field if he has a clean 20 laps. Got Douglas Beasley 40th, and then we'll bring you through the rest of our grid where we've got David Traynor, Jose Carlos Campo de Nicho, Bob Cohen 43rd, Larry Thomas 44th, and then after that it's Mark Lasson, William Lee, Paulo Bonacera with no time, and same for everyone else here: Richard Ross, Wally Molesby, John Arles, Ed Jones, Carl Bogle and Gene Moore. So 53 drivers eligible to take the start today. Certainly the biggest grid we've broadcast in this championship. It might be potentially their biggest grid ever, Paul.
Yeah, it's certainly great to see a big turnout of drivers, and great to see this amount of talent out there on track. And hopefully we'll get some, as I mentioned, hopefully get some quality racing here. We usually do in the Six Sports Racing Adventures, but it's this man that they want to be. It's Remigio De Pasqua, your driver starting from pole position, and he has got to make sure he sets the tone of this race and gets a good start away here. Of course, you got this full pace lap, so drivers are going to be a bit more up to speed than they normally would. But do not despair, as you mentioned there, do not despair if you do have a poor first race, because there is another race to go in this one, and the best result from the two races takes you into the championship standings.
Yeah, so interesting to maybe quickly mention some of the differences between the outgoing Pro Mazda and this new incoming PM18 Indy Pro 2000 car. They both fit the same space in the open wheel ladder. They're both around 250 horsepower or so, bit of downforce, slick tyres. This new car though outgoes the rotary engine, in comes a new 275 horsepower four-cylinder. So to the final corner, our front row there, Remigio De Pasqua, Donald Poole behind the pace car, and that Porsche pace car is about to pull in, and we'll get a new season of 60 plus racing adventures underway right about now. Green flag waves, they all put the power down. It's a stream of angry hornets heading down towards turn one, but Remigio De Pasqua, what a jump he's got as they go a little bit three wide in the background. Everyone wants to make it through turn one, the 90, cleanly. At least in our top 10, everyone does in the background. Hopefully everyone is patient, giving a little bit of space as they're going to stream up through the S's for the first time, Paul. Already, Donald Poole is on the back of Remigio De Pasqua. I think the slipstream is as powerful in this car as it was in the outgoing Pro Mazda.
Yeah, Poole giving it a good shot. Looking out to the side, deciding against it for the time being. Of course, this track, it heavily influenced by the slipstream is this one, so definitely got the opportunities coming. Bruce Granheim making moves early on in the race here as well, as everyone's streaming through down into the chutes for the first time, and really, everybody's kept it clean so far. We've got a couple off towards the back, but everybody so far in the front half of your field, keeping it clean, keeping it on the grey stuff.
Yeah, of course, the newest iRacing tyre model on these cars means it does take a lap and some to really warm those tyres up properly. But once you do, you have a lot more confidence. The car may be a little understeery initially, and that's why everyone is just playing it safe, trying to keep it on the road. You can see Donald Poole is not letting Remigio De Pasqua get away whatsoever.
Certainly not.
Oh, half spin in the background there. Who is that? My timing screen hasn't updated to see who's dropping down, and he's lost his front wing as well. So, bit of a loop coming back onto the cup layout. Stood on the brakes, but it wasn't enough to keep that car out of the wall. Front wing has fallen off for Fiddler.
Yeah, we'll have a look at this again on the brakes. Through the left, is he going to clip that curb? No, he's not. Just too hot on the power. Boom! Into the wall. And loses the front wing. He's going to go back to the pits and get some repairs done.
And he left it on the circuit there, but yeah, Fiddler is going to get those repairs done. Of course, that corner's the only second gear corner on the whole layout here for these cars. So, you know, you can open up the throttle easily in third and fourth gear, not spin it with the big rear slicks you've got. But second gear is the only time you need a little bit more discipline on the throttle. At the lead though, De Pasqua, Donald Poole qualified only 0.06 of a second apart from each other. That almost looks like how close they are on circuit, not quite that much, but De Pasqua defending in a couple places here. Donald Poole is giving him some work.
Yeah, he's certainly keeping him honest, and they're dragging along Bruce Grenheim and Jos van der Ven as well, so just dragging along a queue of cars behind them, and that's something you're going to see here. To be honest, the drivers who are right up near the front shouldn't be too desperate to make any moves, as I've actually noticed Donald Fitterer having an issue with John Unsby, so we'll have a look back at that very shortly, as there's more drama going on as well. But yeah, you can see cars off in the gravel, and we'll have a look at this then. And Donald Fitterer decided to try and go over the top of John Unsby. That doesn't work, but
I'm not sure that's entirely broadcastable in our time slot, unfortunately, but yeah, indeed, then a couple cars strewn across the circuit here, and then you see poor guy's just trying to stay out of the way, gets collected and tagged on the rear tyre, and you can see iRacing new damage model fully in effect. You can lose wings, you can lose tyres, and unfortunately a couple drivers have lost out, as I see Gilman, Coulomb, Cohen and Unsby all on the lane, countering a little bit of traffic at the lead of the race. No problems for De Pasqua and Poole getting through, and if anything, I think it blocked out Poole from trying to make an overtake for the lead of the race.
Yeah, it certainly did. It's helped
Graham in thirds lost a lot as well, trying to get through the bus stop there.
It certainly did help out De Pasqua, and it's just allowed these two to break away, as you mentioned then. So Grenheim under pressure, but another man under pressure is Jos van der Ven as well, with Leroy Coppage with him. So this little pack now starting to battle away and starting to push on and taking the different lines, trying to carry the speed. It's not quite working at the moment, but as they head on down into this turn, still plenty of opportunities to come yet in this race. There's plenty of time.
Yep, so Van der Ven in a new Jackson Pollock yellow kind of livery there, as we ride on board with Leroy Coppage in this mainly blue car. I'm trying to see, they have started catching De Pasqua and Poole a little bit as well, so there's a little bit of lap traffic that kind of got in between second and third and broke those apart, but this car racing even closer than the old Pro Mazda did.
Yeah, these guys are able to push on and to keep close and try and push on. Look at this Coppage then trying to get around Jos van der Ven. Not quite going to make it for the time being. But down the straight, he's got the slipstream of the car in front, which is a bit of lap traffic. Hopefully that doesn't get in the way of these two, and it doesn't, so Coppage having to just slot in behind. But you can see how traffic already, because of the amount of
Russ Addy, I think. Was that Russ Addy that went off, or was it someone else?
Yes, it was Russ Addy, yeah.
Big off. I don't know if there was contact, or he just, you know, of course this is a low-to-the-ground car. You bounce across some of those curbs in the bus stop there, and you can bottom this car out a lot easier than a NASCAR Cup car or a GT machine. So let's see what has happened to one of our top 10 men, Russ Addy.
Yeah, we just got
going
the end
into
of it
the bus stop there.
Let's try and get a different view of it. So Addy going in. Oh, he got caught from behind. That's what happened. Into the gravel. So a little bit of contact. I didn't see who that was with, but he is across the gravel and back and away in this. Although he has actually pulled over to the side, he's spun around and he's decided to set the tow back to the pits.
It's unfortunate for Russ Addy. I think we did see the right rear suspension maybe get broken on that car. So, yeah, a real shame there. But with, well, about to start lap 5, go back to the lead here where De Pasqua still has Poole for company, and Bruce Grenheim just set his personal best lap of the race, is hunting them down a bit as well.
Yep, there's a little bit of a gap between the two leaders, about half a second, although that's getting closer again with that slipstream, but Granheim is not quite as far back as he was. Now, the interesting thing is, Jos van der Ven, with all this defending that he's having to do on Leroy Coppage, has dropped him back 3 seconds on Granheim. And in fact, here we go, change of position, Coppage up ahead of van der Ven.
Coppage sweeps around the outside, grabs 4th place. Good move, I must say. And yeah, well overdue as well. So now you see Van der Ven pushing a little bit wide through the carousel there. He's got John Morgan for company in this machine here. It's a bit of a Jordan throwback or something, not sure, but certainly it's working for John Morgan, who's already up 1 spot, and now he's trying to size up another.
No, that's not a Jordan throwback, I can tell you that for nothing. But yeah, he's putting the pressure on Van der Ven now, and with the track temperatures being as they are, tyre temperatures will become an issue at some point in this race, and they've just got to be careful with how they use this. So it could be that somebody who maybe looks after the tyres in the long run actually is able to make some moves towards the end of the race.
Yeah, I mean, this is a full Grand Prix circuit, and we're doing 20 laps, so you know, it's a similar race distance to what we're used to, I guess, but it's certainly not a short race. It's hardly a 10-minute sprint race. We're looking towards 30-35 minutes in each race, as you see Roastgen having a bit of a move here, and I think he is going to grab one spot. All right, well, he had to work for it a little bit there, so your defending champion is still 7th in the train.
Yeah, it certainly is. Your lead battle though, this is getting close, and they're now starting to actually, they're starting to fight yet? No, Paul is just staying behind for the time being. But these two, they don't want to fight too early and too hard, or else they'll bring Bruce Granheim back into that and cause themselves some issues. So I wouldn't be fighting too hard yet for those two in the lead.
I think they're keeping cool heads at the moment here. And there was a bit more pressure on Van der Ven for a minute there, but John Morgan hasn't gotten past yet as both of them run a little bit wide through the laces, and you can see Stefan Roastgen, blue and pink car there, absolutely hunting around as well.
Paul!
2nd place in the fence.
So what has happened here? We'll have a look at this one.
The grass is so inviting on the outside of the toe of the boot here. Is that what he's done? Your car wants to understeer because of the camber there, and he just loses the rear in the middle there, trying to punch up. Okay.
Yeah, so he loses it, and then just trying to keep out of everyone's way, just nerfs the wall slightly as well. So his front wing won't be feeling too happy about that. That moves everyone up 1 place now in that battle for what was 4th place is now the battle for 3rd, although Coppage is pulling away here.
Yeah, I think we've got a bit of a case of the Jos Truly Van der Ven here. He's got John Morgan, Stefan Roastgen, Mark Robertson, Mike McCormick, Paul Stump and Bob Kern all right behind him in this battle here, and none of them seem to be able to get past Jos van der Ven, but certainly the top 3 are seconds per lap quicker than our 4th place man at the moment.
Yeah, they're off up the hill, up in towards the chicane. Morgan once again trying, it's not working. So through he goes, still in 5th place. But yeah, Van der Ven is under some serious pressure and doesn't seem to be getting on with the car so early on in this race. So hopefully can get a bit more comfortable in this and move forward again and try and get closer to that front gaggle of cars, as David Costello is the latest one. Oh, and there's another car off there. So we've obviously had one issue with Costello. What has happened?
Well, we're going to take a look again. That's coming in towards the bus stop. Someone else was already off and he's gone and tried to avoid that on the grass. No grip, found the wall. So 2 kind of separate but conjoined incidents there, if that makes any sense. Someone off the circuit sort of rolled back in front of Costello, and he's almost beached it.
Well, he's got no wheel,
that's
why. That's why he's almost beached it. He's got no wheel there.
Missing half of his drive as well. Get the pack for 4th though. It's Van der Ven, Morgan, Roastgen. Tough run from Morgan there. He's under quite a bit of pressure from Roastgen, who's looking left. Not quite sure you're going to be able to maintain any momentum on a different lineup through the S's in this car, and that just brings Mark Robertson into it as well. But, you know, he pulls out of the train there, and instantly the double, triple toe he was getting disappears. These guys are all so close, heading into the bus stop once again.
Yeah, but once again, Morgan just can't get ahead. And he's going to start thinking, what do I need to do to actually get ahead of Van der Ven? He's got to be patient though. There's still plenty of time in this race. And yeah, they've all the time in the world. They don't need to panic yet. Just take it easy. See where you're quicker, although really, if you've been behind Van der Ven by now, you know where you're quicker, and try and make the move and try and get a breakaway like Leroy Coppage did, because as soon as Coppage was able to break that slipstream, we see it so often in single-seat cars, as soon as he's able to break the slipstream, he's just been able to waltz away from that pack.
Exactly. Oh, here's a move from Morgan. Down the inside here, I think that's pretty well done on Van der Ven. Pushes Van der Ven out a little wide, but not enough for Roastgen to also try and grab a spot. So Morgan's done it. He's got a little bit of traffic to contend with, but that works out for him in the end. Well done, good move, clean stuff by Morgan.
Yeah, he's been able to pull out a second there, and Van der Ven is going on the defensive again, so he's not comfortable here at all in this place. Here comes Paul Stump now making moves on McCormack. So moves being made left, right and centre as Van der Ven now coming under pressure from Stefan Roastgen. The two rivals from many a season are back at it again for 5th and 6th place, and here comes Robertson as well.
Yeah, he's trying to pick and choose, trying to get the double toe, and side by side into the bus stop. Surely that doesn't work, but it does, and both of them stay side by side, stay clean, and somehow I think Van der Ven is almost going to fend off that attack, but around the outside of the carousel, he has to give room to Roastgen, who goes all tyres on the grass, and Robertson steps on through.
Yeah, he does, and that gets him ahead, so yeah, well done Robertson to take advantage of that, but yeah, going too wide into the bus stop isn't always advisable. Let's just say that. Going 3 wide is even worse, I can tell you that from personal experience, but enough said about that. But now they're going into the heel. How will they get on? Robertson's wide, and that's allowing Roastgen just to have that little look, but no room there to make the move.
Van der Ven's learnt from a lap ago. He's defending where he lost the position to Morgan. Now, again, this is tough for Roastgen in the pack. He might even lose out another spot here. He just can't put his car in the right places to move forwards, even though we know you give him some clean air and there's hardly anyone faster.
Yeah, it's certainly... well, we say that there's nobody faster, but this is a new car to everyone. They're all having to learn how it is. Yes, the ProMaster, they knew that like the back of their hands, did all these drivers. This is a brand new car, and they've got to learn how it works and how it races, and especially in a big pack racing like we're getting here. You've just got to see how it goes, but at the moment, Roastgen just doesn't seem quite comfortable with the car yet.
Yeah, indeed. So nose to tail for all of these drivers once again, coming through the bus stop here as we're kind of approaching halfway in race 1. Remigio de Pasqua has a lead of 5 seconds. In second, Coppage and Granheim are starting to battle as Granheim has managed to chase down Coppage, who's now also having a little bit of struggles with traffic. Coppage has gotten through?
Yeah, Coppage has got through, so he's up in second place now as Leroy, so great job from him. But Granheim, good position in third at the moment. Been focusing on that battle for 5th place for so long, and we didn't even see this change happen. But yeah, it was Coppage who made the move, and he's now just trying to pull away from Granheim, and he's doing an all right job of that.
He's working it cleanly through the traffic. John Morgan, though, caught them a second on the last lap, and he's in the background of this shot as well. So once he finally got on through, John Morgan has speed in this car.
Certainly does. As they head on towards turn 1, lap traffic getting out of the way.
That's exactly what he wanted. Lovely little toe, and then his own line through turn 1.
I think he would have preferred a toe up here, though. I think he would have preferred that lap traffic to get out of the way on this back straight to give him as much toe as possible. But anyway.
Bet you John Morgan's a lot easier to buy Christmas presents for than you. He'll be thankful with what he can get.
Yeah. Anyway, Jim Moore has had a spin. Try and find out.
Didn't have a qualifying time, so I don't know if that was also because he struggled to have a clean lap in qualifying. So we look here. Scored in 21st there, Gene Moore.
Yeah, this is into the heel of the toe. He's fine there. Then up into the left. Oh, it's on the brakes. Oh, that's quite the hit. And he gets the car out of the way. Good work from him to get the car out of the way then. That could have been easily a bigger accident than it was. So, well done, Gene.
Yeah, like I say, I think that is the most difficult corner on the circuit. I turned a handful of practice laps this car in this circuit, and the car's a little understeery almost everywhere except there where the rear wants to get around on you. We look up at the this particular battle. We got Robertson, who's searching around at Mike McCormick, has grabbed a spot from almost all of them, and Stump is off. Yeah,
Paul Stump went wide, lost him a ton of places, so he's moved down to 12th place. He was up in about 9th place before that, so they've fallen back. Jos van der Ven has been able to pull away a little bit as well on these drivers, about a second ahead of Mike McCormick, who was, of course, who was battling with Matt Robertson. Rusgen under pressure with Bob Kern now. So Rusgen, another driver who we've seen was always up at the sharp end in the Pro Mazda, but in this car, he's in that top 10 battle in and around there as they're going side by side up ahead of them.
They are. McCormick maybe going to lose out another one to Mark Robertson here. Ducks right back into the slipstream as they snake across the back straight. But as they throw it into the bus stop here, I think that spot is definitely Robertson's.
Yeah, through the go then. Downhill.
You know, there were some drivers who I think in past seasons hadn't repainted their Pro Mazdas in many a year. But now, new car, some new ideas. There's some different and creative paint schemes out there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see. And whenever there's a new car on the iRacing service, you always get these drivers gets the creative juices going, and gets them to work and to give the cars a new look and paint.
Everyone but Paul Stump, who's using exactly the same colour as always, as that is a spin and that is a nose into the wall, pushing it too hard, Mark Robertson.
Yeah, we'll try and get a look at that then, see what happened, and we'll go on board with Mark. So he's fine through there. It's the next corner, and it's going to be too eager on the power. We've seen a few drivers be like this today. Yep, just carried a little bit too much speed, and bang, into the wall. That's his race done.
For shame. But he will have, again, the opportunity once again Kern in race 2. Kern, slow, gets clipped there. It's coming up through the S's.
It looks like he's on the pit lane speed limiter.
Well, yeah, I'm seeing the red flashing rain light. I think the only times that could happen is if you're stuck on the limiter or if you've maybe blown the motor. But yeah, that. How fast is he doing? Is he doing 72 kilometers an hour?
Yes, he is.
Well, that's pit lane speed limiter.
And he wasn't out of the pits either. We saw this earlier. There was a little clip. It wasn't quite as dramatic as that made it. It's sorted itself out. But yeah, Bob Kern is on the pit lane speed limiter. So that is really bizarre. I've only ever seen this once before, and it was a teammate of mine in an endurance race who didn't have a pit lane speed limiter mapped.
We've had that before.
And he had to do an entire lap of Spa-Francorchamps on the pit lane speed limiter. So I won't name who it was, Russell Laidler, but he knows who he is.
I won't name ours, Nate Franklin.
We've got a good battle for second place
he's
still.
Found a button in the cockpit and then hasn't been able to get rid of it in that particular case. So we are looking, Coppedge pulling away from Granheim a little bit now. John Morgan in the background there as well, not quite catching them in the last couple of laps.
Yeah, he's sort of... He's kept to a similar sort of time behind, so he's not doing a bad job, as Paul Stump has had an issue into the S's. So there's all sorts happening here in this first race. It's absolutely fascinating. We'll have a look and see what's happened to Paul then.
I did just notice he lost a position to Louis Cannell. That's who he's fighting with here into turn 1. So Stump goes wide to give the space there, and then what?
Oh, he's lost it. He's gone into the barrier.
Wiggle coming up the hill at the S's. That is rare.
That is rare, yeah. I've not seen that before, actually. I've never seen that before. He's back up and running, so the canvas feels relatively pointing in the right direction, all four wheels, but yeah, I've never seen that before. But this is one of the learning things, one of the learning points that these drivers are going to have to contend with and have to find out.
So 7 laps to go, looking at your battle 6th and 7th, Mike McCormick is in front of Stefan Roestgen. Roestgen was very, very quick on the last lap. 42.1 means he's got the fastest lap of everyone in the top 20. So I think he's maybe found some of the legs underneath him now. As you can see, he's got a little more space around him. He's just far enough behind McCormick that he's picking up the toe, but not being impeded anywhere. And I think that is helping Roestgen find his legs with this car.
Yeah, he's getting himself some clean air, and he's able to now sort of just push on and see what he can do in this car. So it's certainly helping him, but he's in that top 10. Can't really complain when you've had a stacked field like we've seen here today in this first race. And as we mentioned earlier, there are 2 races of this, so stick around because you won't want to miss race number 2. But yeah, Stefan's just seemed to be just finding his feet and getting to grips with this car in this series here.
Yeah, I mean, just as I said that, McCormick has also found a real turn of pace on the last lap, being the fastest in the top 10 as well. So yeah, trading a couple of lap times here as they have to dodge the 24. Richard Coulomb, who's obviously not adapting quite as well as he might have liked to this car, because we've seen him, I think, top 10 before in the old Pro Mazda.
We've only had 17 drivers not have a visit to the pit lane. The rest of the field, bear in mind it was 53 vehicles, have been into the pit lane, so everybody's still learning the car. Everybody's still not quite used to a grid
Wiggle
this size.
from McCormick there.
Yeah.
Again, that corner, we've seen a lot of people struggle to put the power down. Car's a bit oversteery there. It cost McCormick a bunch of time. Suddenly he's got Roestgen right up underneath him as well. Roestgen not as confident through the final corner though. Again, that's one of those things you really need to build up to, because that wall is right there on the outside of the final corner, and it might rip your wheel off if you clip it.
Oh, look at that wide line from Roestgen there. So trying to carry as much speed as possible. But the thing is, you can't go too wide there, else you end up scrubbing off speed by going too wide. So it's a bit of a trade-off there if you do run out wide at turn 1. But look at the draft effect now. He's not close enough to make a move this time into the bus stop. And with 5 laps remaining here, he's got the opportunities there. He's got the opportunities coming.
Yeah, I mean, he nearly made a fantastic move around the outside of that corner there earlier in the race on Jos van der Ven, but didn't stick. So we're seeing some of the Roestgen form. We're just, yeah, maybe he's looking to just bag something in race 1 and then just keep moving it forward through the championship. Good run coming up the hill. Another wiggle from McCormick. Roaston goes on the grass, but seals the pass.
Yeah, McCormick, not the only person that we've seen have that issue in that corner. So McCormick again. We'll get a look at this from onboard Stefan's car. And here's the replay then. And you'll watch that car in front then. Watch him mid-corner, just where he's starting to get the power down, and then, whoa, well held and well avoided Stefan Rostjen as well.
Yeah, it was close for a minute there, but in the end, Rostjen grabs it, seals it, moves on with the spot. It's not dropping Mike McCormick though.
So this is your closest battle on track, is this one. And McCormick now just getting out the draft, going through the first part of the S's. That could be a little bit of a ploy because you don't want to be too close through the S's. But here now, McCormick looking out to the left. Rostjen holding it inside the line, but he will have to go a little bit slower into the S's.
Oh, into the bus stop. Oh my goodness, how did they not touch? But McCormick grabs the spot back, swooping around the outside. So yeah, he not long after that wiggle moment we saw earlier, he's got the confidence right back.
Yep, it was a good decisive move. Gave room, he did give him enough room for Stefan, but made Stefan have a choice of, are you going to have an accident with me or not? And Stefan decided that, you know, it's better to just lift off the throttle a little bit more, let him get ahead, because there's still plenty of time left. There's 4 laps remaining here.
Indeed there is, and they're still close once again. So got the black car and the slightly more colourful car, and they also have a difference in their lines coming back onto the Cup circuit out of the boot. And I think that is the most difficult corner on this circuit in these cars, because the balance is so radically different from all the other corners.
It's quite a slow corner. It comes up over a bit of a crest as well, doesn't it? Just as you're going into the corner. So it can unsettle the car on turn in. And it's got quite a high curb on the inside as well, that you don't want to touch that curb, or else it will unsettle the car. Speaking of unsettling the car, onto the dirt goes McCormick, and that's allowing Rostjen now to have the slipstream.
Yeah, this is where they swapped positions about a lap ago. Can Rostjen do the same again? He looks to the inside. He had a good run. Is it going to be enough? Yeah, it is. Goes and grabs that spot back from McCormick. So these two found the confidence to battle each other. They're swapping those positions a couple times in the last 2 laps.
If I'm McCormick, I'm not too concerned about Stefan making the move on this lap. There's still 3 laps remaining. Oh, we've got a car spun around there.
More.
It's more, so yeah, a bit of issues there for more. So, but we're able to carry on. Worth pointing out, we've barely mentioned him here, but 4.3 second lead for your race leader right now in the Team Italian Turtles for the Mijo de Pasqua. And doing a good job out the front there, not really under any pressure.
And difficult to miss him as well. You better have your sunglasses on looking at that car, because it is a clear sunny day at Watkins Glen, and I'm pretty sure you could start a fire with any convex or concave surface on that car. Great livery for De Pasqua, and there's a matching ones out there for his teammates. I think that's the new Team Italian Turtles livery.
Yeah, it certainly is. It was straight. We saw it on the Pro Mazda. Oh, we've got an issue for Lewis Cannell. In fact, has taken a turn.
He's in the top 10.
Back to the pits. Yeah, we're going to have a look back and see what's happened there. So this is up in the bus stop chicane. Oh, no, it's not. I thought it was up at the bus stop chicane. It must be the last corner that he's had the issue here. So let's find out what's happened to Lewis.
Again, you clip any grass anywhere with these cars, they're not going to like it. But he didn't need the grass to oversteer and hit that barrier there. I mean, they put tyres or whatever it is against the Armco there because it's an easy place to hit, and Cannell is showing us just how you lose grip at the rear coming out the penultimate corner, and it is so easy to do.
this is it. He lost grip coming out the corner, but it wasn't like he touched the grass or the gravel. It's showing how difficult it is to get the power down, to apply that power with these rear tyres. So these drivers are having to learn to be a bit more cautious with the old right foot here.
Track has also gotten hotter as we've gone through qualifying in the race. I don't know, did it start at about maybe 35 degrees Celsius? Now it's up towards about 39. So look at all this traffic in front of Roastgen. He's got McCormick bearing down on him once again, and all he can see is traffic. Whoa, McCormick dived in hot there as well.
Yeah, that was all a bit squeaky bum time, that one, as they go down across the stripe for the start in the final lap here. And really, this is now when McCormick needs to make this move.
Yeah, I mean, if he can get the job done on the way into the bus stop, I reckon he could hold on to it for the whole rest of the lap. But he's not as close as he was previous times. This is really going to be a challenge for him here on the final lap.
Yeah, we'll see them coming down now. What can they do? Moves out, but not close enough, as you mentioned. So time is running out, and opportunities are running out here. Oh, and into the gravel. That's going to be the end of his opportunities now.
Yeah, I think so. At the lead, De Pasqua has, I think, he's dropped some of that lead. It was 5 seconds. It's now 1.8, but I think last couple laps here, he's just making sure he keeps it on circuit. Coppedge is there, but I don't think close enough to mount a challenge to De Pasqua, who started on pole, showed us he had the speed in qualifying, and all race long I think he's had good pace, but also the consistency and the control to just keep the car on track. Good start to the season for him so far.
Yeah, well, he's still got 2 corners to go here. We've seen how cars have had issues. This is another car, and that's Cannell again having issues. But through the final corner then for Remigio De Pasqua.
Yep, new season, new car, new 60-plus racing adventures, and Remigio De Pasqua opens that chapter in dominant fashion with the pole position, converting it into a win. He's going to be delighted as Coppedge got close and got second place. Bruce Granheim is going to definitely hold on to third. Last battle coming to the line here. Paul Stump is not quite going to be able to catch Leif Hellberg for 8th and 9th there, and Joel Martin is quite a bit further down, so actually a top 9 quite clear of the rest of the field. Drift moment from Mark Robertson.
Yeah, that's down at the bus stop, so they are way back. He was battling for about 20th place, and he's had a bit of an off-track excursion there, but Wilson and Fiddler, we saw Fiddler have issues earlier on in this race. He is now, he's obviously been in the pits, had that fast repair. There is a fast repair available to all these drivers here, but as they go up the hill, is still within the shout of Ian Wilson, but not quite close enough to make any moves, and really the last overtaking opportunity, you would say, is into this next corner.
Yeah, we did see a couple moves happen coming up the hill here. It's how Jos van der Ven ended up losing a spot, but yeah, a little wide there, bit of grass. Holds onto it somehow. You definitely don't want to touch the grass on these slick tyres. There's no grip for you on them, and unfortunately not close enough for the 101 that time.
Yeah, certainly not, but Ian Wilson then will come across in 19th place. 19th, 1-9 as across the line they go. So, yeah, that should be about everybody across the line now, so we should be able to actually take you through your finishing results here.
Yeah, that we should. Like we said, your winner was Remigio De Pasqua, and then completing the podium was Leroy Coppedge and Bruce Granheim. Yeah, he clicks the button and it works. There we go. John Morgan then in 4th. Jos van der Ven still held on for 5th. Despite being the train conductor for a bit there, definitely found his legs, and that's a good way to start the season. Roastgen right behind him in 6th, Mike McCormick 7th, Leif Hellberg 8th, just held off Paul Stump to the end there, and Joel Martin another 17 seconds down the road, but gets himself in the top 10. And I do wonder if we get a word with Joel Martin later. We'll see. And the remaining cars that finished on your lead lap here is Barry Hills in 11th, Bill Kraus, Urs Muller, Richard Ross, Mark Lasson, Randy Shoemake, who we saw having some great scraps in the last race of last season 2 weeks ago. Kenneth Dummer then in 17th, Russ Addy 18th, Ian Wilson, we were having a look at him there in 19th, and Andrew Fiddler in 20th. Like I say, the last cars on your lead lap then, Mark Robertson, Jose Carlos Campodinicho, and Greg Gilman.
Yep, so all these drivers then 1 lap or more down. Jack Turner, Michael Bailey, Lewis Cannell, who we saw having a couple of issues towards the end of that race there. Richard Coulomb, David Costello, who we saw have his own issue at the bus stop chicane. Jared Florison, David Riley, Gene Moore, Greg Garris, John Alls, should I say? John Unsby, as we saw getting attacked from the rear, shall we say, early doors, with Donald Fisser in 35th, Scotty Geller, the last year 1 lap drivers down, and then Gianni Respaldo, Richard Varley, Bob Cohen, Carl Bogle, William Lee, Larry Thomas, Charles Gilley, Bob Kern, Donald Poole, Paolo Bonacera, Bruce Poole, Wally Molesby, Kenneth Baldwin, Douglas Beasley, still not done, Franz Brink, David Traynor, and Ed Jones all did not finish the race there, David.
I think Ed Jones is the only driver who didn't finish 1 lap, but I mean, let's see briefly. We tried him earlier. We weren't sure did or did we not have Joel Martin, and do we have you, Joel?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Definitely do have you now. I mean, I want to get your thoughts, first of all, on this new car, Indy Pro 2000 PM18. That's, of course, the biggest change since last season. How'd you find it, bringing it home in 10th?
Had to find the correct button, sorry. Well, that's the best finish I've had in a long time, but I may have had an advantage in doing the setup and spending more time with it than a lot of the other guys.
I mean, overall, it looks like the car is a similar speed to the outgoing Pro Mazda, but maybe just a little bit quicker. Is the balance similar? Is it faster in a straight line? What's the biggest difference from the cockpit in how the car feels and how you race?
Overall grip seems to be better. And you got to realize 15-year improvement in chassis design and everything else. So it drives differently. It has a lockable rear end. The other car had an open differential. So it drives quite a bit differently. I think ultimately it's going to be quite a bit faster in my hands and in the way the setups we do for the league, trying to make them so everybody can drive them. It's not going to be as fast, but I think it's got a lot of potential. I think it's going to be a great car. It's much easier to save. You make a mistake, and it's easy to save. If you drop a wheel off, it's probably worse than the old car.
And talking about the league, I mean, 53 drivers for race 1. Is that a record? Because that is I mean, everyone's obviously very excited about this car, and they've come out in force.
That's a record by 15 cars at least.
That's fantastic to hear, and I think a couple drivers still finding their feet with this car, but overall, I think that the racing was pretty good here for race 1. Are you happy with it?
Well, I'll know later after I watch your video.
Oh, well, fantastic. And again, congratulations on finishing in the top 10 here, Joel. We'll see if we have a word with you after race 2, but thanks so much for all the work you do with 60 Plus Racing Adventures, and also chatting with us right now.
Well, Bruce Grenham asked me to come in, and he's not able to. He finished third, and I want to congratulate him and everybody else on the podium. And he wanted me to say thanks to you, too.
Well, thank you so much, and hopefully we'll see him again in race 2, because he had a good result. Paul, there's also a couple other drivers who we're going to have a chat with. Who are you going to grab?
Yeah, I'm gonna grab Leroy Coppage, the person who finished in second place in that race. And Leroy, it was you had to work for that one, didn't you? You had to you started a little bit further down, but worked your way through the field.
Well, with some help from some folks in front, of course, but really a fun race. Getting through all that traffic toward the end of the race when the time was really interesting.
And we've seen how different people seem to be adapting to the car a little bit quicker than others. How are you finding this new car?
Well, I'm liking it a lot, and but I have spent a great deal of time 13 trying to speed with this thing. First, in particular, the braking and shifting was quite different than the I've got it now, and it's really a fun car to drive. Trying it.
And well, race 1, there we are, second place. Do we feel that race 2 is going to be maybe one step further up the podium, or is that a good start to your season?
Oh, the stuff on now that he's done a race. I haven't seen him practice at all, so he probably came into this almost cold. Once he gets up to speed on this car, as you know from the previous seasons, he is really tough to beat. He's just too good. I may not even do it because I'm from Oregon, and this is lunch hour for me. Instead of talking to you, I should be eating. But since this is the first time I've finally been able to connect with you, having tried several times before, rooted out, and do it. So thanks very much for you guys doing this. We really appreciate it. It makes it fun.
Well, thank you very much, and enjoy your lunch then if we don't see you in race 2.
Very much. I'll probably watch it. That's usually what I do is while I'm eating my lunch, I watch the second race. So, very much. Bye-bye now.
Take care. So that was Leroy Coppage, and we could just get a quick word as well, David, then, with John Morgan, the man who finished in 4th place.
Yeah, do we have you, John Morgan?
Yep, I'm here.
Well, 4th place, I think ordinarily that would be a pretty decent result, but with 53 drivers on the grid, I think that makes it even more of an achievement. You happy with it?
Yes, I am. For the first race in this car, and with a lot of very, very fast guys on the track, it was a good race because I kind of let it come back to me a little bit, and yeah, good race. It was good to see the turnout, but yeah.
Obviously, the easy question here is, what do you think about the new car? Because from previous seasons, that's the biggest new variable.
I think it's a step up. I mean, I think it's one of the best cars that iRacing has done. It's very balanced. It reacts much more naturally than the Pro Mazda does. As the tires went off in this race after about lap 15, you could feel it slide, but it's very minor corrections, and you could correct the car. So I'm loving the new car. So it's looking forward to the season.
Yeah, fantastic. The other thing I've noticed on the schedule, I mean, this car potentially on some ovals?
Yes, 53 guys on a small oval. Yeah, I think we decided to follow the official series because we do have quite a few guys that race the official series. But yeah, even the Pro Mazda was fun on the ovals. You have to be a little bit more respectful of the guys around you, but it can be a lot of fun.
Well, wishing you the best of luck for race 2 that's apparently not that far away. You can go up one spot further and find yourself on the podium.
I am certainly going to try, but just like I said, the competition in this league is, even though we all get older, it just seems to get tougher and tougher.
Well, best of luck, and again, race hard out there, keep it clean. That's what I think all the drivers want, and that's what we want to see.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John Morgan, 4th place finisher in race 1, having a chat with us. And as we say, race 2, a chance for the drivers to do it all over again, is not far away. But before we get there, going to take a quick ad break, and we will come back here on RaceSpot. More 60-plus racing adventures, new Indy Pro 2000 PM18. Race 2 at Watkins Glen is not far away. Stick with us.
Benedetto is there. Who will it be? When will they make the move? Bailey Curry looks low. He looks high. He looks high again. Off turn 4. Cambry down to the apron. Will Rogers is there. They spread 3 wide. They spread to the grass. Here they come to the tri-oval. 4, 5 wide. Who's going to win it at the line? It's Chase Cambry. Cambry wins at Daytona by 1/100th of a second.
He's no slowpoke. He's in 15th behind them, and behind them side by side for Kenny Rodriguez. Whoa, Stephen Nash went past him. Okay, I'm gonna need a replay of that one. Stephen Nash round the outside of Kenny Rodriguez into the last sector of this track, because that was insane.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was always fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos or danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all will be kept in the pits. Not to mention that with members in over 130 countries already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series and work your way up to one of 7 world championships, offering over $500,000 in prize money. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Carolina, where the field is rolling out for the start of today's 400-lap race on this .625-mile racetrack. Here's the starting lineup. On the pole from Dawsonville, Georgia, in the number 9 Coors Ford qualifying and Winston Cup race from North Wilkesboro is underway. Everybody nicely through turns number 1 and 2 as Bill Elliott has the lead and Dale Earnhardt has jumped into second position, followed by Benny Parsons and Bobby Allison.
We're back at Watkins Glen. Thanks for sticking with us. 60 plus racing adventures. It is season 15, round 1 at Watkins Glen. Race 1 was won by Remigio De Pasqua. Can he back it up for race 2? Qualifying is underway right now before we get into that 20-lap race. Quick look at the weather here. You see it's 32 on track right now. It was 40 at the end of race 1, so if the temperatures climb once again, you can see how the grip goes away from the drivers from qualifying and through the race. It's David Haynes, Paul Smith with me once again, and all of our drivers, not all of them have got a time on the board for qualifying, but Jos van der Ven has it. Well, he had it provisionally pole when I started that sentence. Now it's Donald Poole.
Yeah, so hello everybody, welcome back. It's Donald Poole has got himself to the top of the standings. Hopefully we've seen the end of the little technical gremlins that have been affecting here today. But this is certainly a great opportunity for those who didn't get a good lap time in and a good finish in race 1 to then get themselves some decent points and some well-earned points for race number 2. That's what's going to be on their minds coming into this one, is can they push on and get a really good race 2 result here.
So, it's a 2-lap session for all of our drivers. Some of them have done their laps, some of them are still out there, some stay on circuit after the 2 timed laps just to keep more practice going. But the pole man from race 1, Remigio De Pasqua, has run out of laps and he's down in 12th. So it is going to be an entirely different race for the man who at the moment is your championship leader after race 1. Of course, your best result is what counts to the championship from race 1 and race 2. So it is often very common that at the end of round 1, we had a winner for race 1, a winner for race 2. They would be equal on points, co-leading the championship, leading round 1. So we'll see if that's the case. The only way that would not be the case is if Remigio De Pasqua can go back-to-back races 1 and races 2 here today and start this championship with a clear lead. But yeah, I mean, again, big grid of new Pro Mazdas.
Yeah, so we saw that last season, didn't we, in start of season 14, that we had 2 drivers who both won race number 1, and they ended up being equal on points at the end of the first week. So it is a unique point to this championship of how the points are doled out, and I think it's a good way of giving everybody an opportunity to be able to get a good result in an event, and it's a good little way of keeping everybody involved in the racing, so that if you don't have a good race 1, you've got that opportunity still in race number 2.
Certainly do. So, a minute and a half left of qualifying. Far as I can see, just about everyone has set a time. Got Bob Kern and Leif Hellberg, I think, still out there just putting in more laps, putting in more practice. Actually, Bob Kern's on his final of 2 flying laps here, so currently 17th. This one could be an improvement. I haven't seen the first half of this lap, but bring it home strong, Bob. He might still be able to move up from 17th.
Yeah, we'll see him come through the final 2 corners there. We've seen people having issues with this final corner, or the penultimate corner, then the final corner, but not so for Bob. Does he improve his lap time? He does. That's going to move him up into 11th place.
There we go, puts Remigio De Pasqua 1 spot further down as well, so good lap there to bring it home from Kern. He is just within about 4.5 tenths off pole. So again, very close to getting underway for race 2, and race 1 was exciting, so I think if all of our drivers have learnt something from that, we'll have even closer racing in race 2.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it just in qualifying there, 1st to 20th covered by a second, so it shows how close the series is. In fact, as we get ready for the start of this one, you're talking about 2.5 to down to 29th, so really close between all these drivers here.
And that's without any slipstream or any draft. It was private qualifying. In the racing, it's always even closer than that. So let's take a look at that grid. Your pole man is Donald Poole, and he has the biggest margin anyone's had on pole position all season, ahead of Jos van der Ven, 1.5 tenths there. John Unsby in 3rd, Russ Addy in 4th. 5th place, Greg Garris, then Donald Fitterer 6th, John Morgan 7th. We spoke to him after race 1 where he finished 4th. See if he goes better than that. Bill Kraus in 8th. Got Bruce Granheim, finished on the podium in race 1. He's going to start at a 9th place for race 2. Randy Shoemake starting inside the top 10. Then Bob Kern, we saw his fast lap there for 11th. Mike McCormick was involved in plenty of excitement. Now he's going to start out of 12th. Remigio De Pasqua, a lot of work to do from 13th place there. The only thing he can do for his points position is to win again and equal his best of the round. David Costello in 14th, Andrew Fiedler 15th, and Kenneth Dummer in 16th. Paul.
Yeah, so Jack Turner then ahead of Lewis Cannell with Paul Stump again down in 19th and Matt Robertson 20th. That's your 10th row of the grid. Then Joel Martin as Muller, just over a second. In fact, equal times for those two, so really close between those two. Bill Wright, Greg Gilman, with Leif Hellberg and Bruce Poole 26th. Richard Varley ahead of Bob Cohen in 28th. Michael Bailey 29th ahead of David Riley in 30th. Richard Coulomb 31st ahead of Stefan Rosgen. Look at that, 2 seconds off of the pole time, down in 32nd. Barry Hills and Matt Lisson in 33rd, 34th. Douglas Beasley and Scotty Gallup 36th. Gianni Raspaldo and David Traynor, with Charles Gilly and Jose Carlos Campodonico get there in the end. And then William Lee, the last of the drivers who set a lap time. Wally Moulsby, John Arles, Ed Jones, Carl Bogle, Dev Donnelly, Gene Moore, Larry Thomas all did not set a time. So only 48 drivers on the grid this time for you, David. But a few drivers obviously either thinking that they had a good result, or in the case of one of our drivers, deciding it's a bit of lunchtime.
I mean, you can't argue with lunch, really. And think about it, if only 48 cars would still beat the record from before this round for participation. So I think 48 will do us. As you can see, they're all on their formation lap, full lap around the circuit behind the Porsche 911. So Poole and Van der Ven on the front row. That's going to be an interesting one, because we saw Van der Ven wasn't shy to get the elbows out and race a little bit in race 1.
Yeah, Van der Ven, he was getting a bit racy, wasn't he? And trying to force it, but he fell back throughout that race, so maybe used up his tyres early on in the race, and then as the track got hotter and hotter, it just did not suit him at all, and fell back through the field. So we don't know. We'll see how we get on here for race number 2. But yeah, it's a good opportunity for these drivers to get a good second result and get themselves some really good points in the championship.
Yeah, indeed. Big grid to start off with. Sort of means if you get a good result now, yeah, certainly a good start, and be easier to defend it from there on out. So, I mean, who's the ones to watch for this race? You have to say, what a surprise to see Stefan Rosgen 32nd on the grid. I mean, we're talking about, you know, record car counts. Has he ever qualified that low before? Ever?
That's a very good question, and one that we'd have to look through the history books. Unfortunately, we don't have those at our fingertips right now, but, you know, certainly, again, as I said in that first race, it's a brand new car to everybody. Some will adapt faster than others. Some may not even like the car after a while, you know, maybe not suits their driving style. We heard how, you know, even something as the braking and changing of gears is different in this car compared to the old car. So, you know, there's a lot to adapt to, but you will see those top drivers, when they do get a hang of it, they'll progress forward through the field.
So we're most of the way around that formation lap, and we're getting ready for the race start. Remigio de Pasqua had a great jump in race 1. Can Donald Poole do about the same? Pace car in the final corner. Pace car about to jump in. Race 2 at Watkins Glen gets underway with the green flag waving, and again, good jump from your pole man immediately. Van der Ven comes across to maybe try and defend John Unsby there in towards turn 1. Yeah, can't help but be envious of Donald Poole, everyone else battling behind.
Yeah, as you see through the field, just look at all these cars. Oh, contact with Rosgen!
3-car contact there as he tried to come back from the runoff.
Oh, there's a big crash at the top of the hill as well. Hopefully
it's one of the turtles.
Yeah, hopefully everybody stays out of the way.
It's de Pasqua.
Oh my goodness, it's all starting here at the start of this race. It's an absolute carnage further down your field, but up at the front, Donald Poole has got a half a second lead.
So cold tyres at the start, but hot attitudes, and saw Rosgen trying to go around the outside of some drivers on turn 1. That didn't stick. Your race 1 winner is on the tow hook in pit lane. So difficult start for a lot of the drivers that we thought we were going to see right at the pointy end of race 2. This absolutely opens it up for some drivers who didn't do well in race 1 to grab a handful of points.
Yeah, this is the perfect opportunity now. One of those drivers, Greg Garris, it shows him as 14th at the moment. That's because a lot of drivers have taken a tour back to the pit lane. So that means that those drivers will have gone through, effectively going to the front of the field with that tour, but they are stuck on the pit road and they will lose those places. So Donald Poole in the lead then, with Van der Ven and Addy. So Russ Addy, that's a big chance for him. And there's Donald Fitterer running wide. Oh, and Garris into the wall.
Garris has tried to go off the line and then found there's no grip out there. It's absolutely stacked up here coming across the line as the timing begins to update with our first flying lap completed. So Donald Poole, Jos van der Ven holding on to their respective firsts and seconds, but Russ Addy has been a big winner. And Greg Garris, my goodness, that is a tough way to come across the line.
It certainly is, and ahead of him then Randy Shoemaker, another person who didn't quite have the best first race, looking to get a good result here, and he's moving through, or is he? Because they're all battling it out there into the bus stop. Really tricky to make a move stick there, but so far, able to just hold on to the place then. Mike McCormick, we saw in race 1 battling up near the front, in 10th place at the moment. He's in the battle with David Costello, who wants to get a good result in this second race.
Certainly is. Not sure around the outside quite worked there, but they are all stacked up behind 5th place here and 6th place or so. This is what we saw at the start of race 1 as well. These big battle trains. Everyone just needs to make sure they keep it on the pavement, but look at how many are on the lane.
Yeah, there's a lot. Basically 32nd down to 48th have all either been on pit road or are currently on pit road as Bill Krause. Look at this with Donald Fitterer. Krause looking to make some moves here. This is 6th and 7th.
So they are all packed up in this train here, riding on board with Krause in 7th, as you say. He's trying to close up on Fitterer, but he has a long line of drivers right behind him as well.
Yeah, he's got Shoemaker, Garris, McCormick, Costello, Granheim, Duma, Kern, Fiddler. Oh, as Shoemaker's actually had an incident in turn number 1. And that's Greg Garris who's got involved with him.
A lot of damage there for Garris. Take a look at what happened there going in towards turn 1. Like we say, they were all packed up, all battling. Here's the view from Garris. Decent run out of the final corner in the slipstream. What happens into turn 1? Different braking markers, and that is, yeah, that's something.
That was called just slightly too late on the brakes. Gets into the back of Shoemaker. Shoemaker pretty much the innocent party and all of that. Goes sideways. There's nothing he can do about that except hold the brakes.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of carbon fibre impregnation, but never quite looking like that.
Muller. There's Muller has
more
had
drivers, more damage.
Oh, he's already got damage. So he's already got damage. He's incurred some damage at the bus stop chicane. Then coming through the carousel. Now, is there somebody else who's gone off in front of him? Or somebody collects? Or he's collected somebody, bang, into the wall. Both cars go. And, well, that was one of the Team Italian Turtles again, wasn't it? So, I don't know who that was that he collected, but you would hope that it wasn't De Pasqua. It might well have actually been De Pasqua.
Yeah, I'm having a quick squeeze at the timing screen to be sure, but again, you know, big grid. Some of our drivers having a tough time on the cold tyres in the opening section of the lap here. Look at this run for John Unsby though, ranging right up at Russ Addy, pulls out towards the inside. I think this is how you make a move, but he just isn't confident enough there. So Addy holds on to that third spot. John Unsby both looking for it. Behind them, Fitterer and Morgan have switched positions as well, though, as you see them coming through here. Or have they? I think Morgan's fought back.
Yeah, Morgan's fallen back there. So Fitterer has finally been able to pull away from Kraus and is now able to focus forward on Morgan in front of him. But McCormick and Costello have actually changed spots, because Costello now is up into 8th place on this lap. So great recovery drive then from David after a disastrous first race, and it's going well so far. He'll be touching every piece of wood that he can, but this can turn out to be a great result for him.
Yeah, super close racing all through our top 20 or so, including these drivers right here. One of the Italian Turtles cars staying out of the way. I think that was De Pasqua. So he knows that this race isn't going to be his race, and he's letting everyone else get on with it. Carl Bogle. Where is that? That's the laces of the boot. Yeah, laces.
Oh, we're not going to quite catch that. Hang on a second. We could get this just a little
someone else was there.
Yeah, so he got into the back of a slow-moving car. I'm trying to see whose number that is. It's an 18 on it. And that would happen to be Larry Thomas, then, I do believe. Yes, it was.
So, shame for those guys early. Recapping the race, though, I think Jos van der Ven is now just back within a second of Donald Poole up front. These guys just not quite close enough. Donald Poole doing just enough to try and hold on to that lead early goings in race 2. The gap backwards, though, quite a while before you get to Russ Addy, who's leading his own little train, his own little conga line and battle in 3rd.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's got a couple of drivers with him. So it's Addy, it's Unsby, and it's Morgan. There's Donald Fitterer as well, who's not that far behind as well. So the three of those drivers are trying to put the pressure on Russ Addy. But Addy will be wanting to get a good result after pretty much a write-off in race 1.
Yeah, indeed. It's looking good for Morgan as well, though, because he's sort of shaken his battle with Fitterer there, and he's right up with Unsby, who was closing in on Addy for the podium as well. So this is shaping up to be a good battle. Unsby of slightly different colours, a bit more orange than previous seasons there.
It's got the RaceSpot logo on it, and we all know that gives you 0.2 of a second per lap, as Kenneth Dummer has had some sort of issue, and he's actually pulling to a stop here. So what? Oh no, he's getting going again. He was looking for a bit of a gap. But what has happened here to Kenneth then? He was involved in a battle.
Well, we're looking on the replay, all very close into turn 1. That is just, easily done. And then there's a bit of damage there for Dummer, but I think he gets on with it afterwards. But yeah, some drivers are super confident diving deep into turn 1, others not so much.
Yeah, I couldn't quite tell who it was that he actually collected there, but yeah, they've Dummer just dropping back, and that's down to 17th now. But yeah, it's everybody, as I mentioned in the first race, everybody learning how the car drives and how they can go here, and hopefully everybody will pick up as they go along, and improvements will be forthcoming.
Indeed, this is a great battle to watch that keeps going on. Our highest placed battle, Addy, Unsby, Morgan, Fitterer, still in the same order as when we checked in with them last time. Fitterer was actually the fastest of the 4 on that lap just completed. I mean, he's picking up a sizable toe off the guys in front. He's in a good position.
Yeah, all these drivers, don't forget, well, I don't think we actually mentioned it in race 1, all these drivers using the same setup, so they're all going to have the same feeling, the same car underneath them. Oh, Fitterer just running deep into the bus stop. That's cost him a little bit of time there. Just little mistakes like that can cost you the opportunity, can't they, of moving forward.
Yeah, and you know, not a huge amount of horsepower for these cars. Really, once you lose some of your momentum, you know, it takes a while to wind it all back up again. It's not like you know, GT cars or stock cars or something where, you know, you make a mistake and then the very next corner, you know, you got to back it up again and just get a good exit out of there. You're right back in the pace. With these cars, you know, lots of grip, pretty light, bit of downforce on them. You've really got to keep your mid-corner speed high as the way to go fast in these cars, and you lose some of your momentum and then you lose that.
Yeah, it's all about, I mean, you can say it's about any race car. It's all about minimising your apex speed loss, and to try and keep as much as possible speed through the apex of the corner. And as we mentioned, because it is the same setup for everybody, mistakes like that have more of an effect. If you had an open setup field and you had a superior setup in terms of out-and-out speed of a lap, but you made mistakes, you'd make that gap back again, wouldn't you? Whereas in a fixed setup series, you make a mistake, you drop back, you've got to work that little bit harder and keep it clean to be able to progress forward, because of the fact that everybody's got that same setup.
Bit of traffic coming up for these guys though, as Unsby has a half-hearted look there. We'd also seen Fitterer getting a bit closer to Morgan, but suddenly these four drivers battling over third begun to catch a few of those cars that had to jump on the tow hook at the end of lap 1.
Yeah, so yeah, you mentioned lap traffic there. There are unfortunately a number of drivers who got involved in that lap 1 issue, and having their own little battle here further down. But Unsby, it's great to see him up in 4th place, isn't it? It's great to see John up there battling for a podium. He's always great to talk to after a race, and you never know, he could have a podium on his cards here today.
Yeah, still a lot of laps to go and a bit of traffic for these guys to try and work their way through. Some of it was kind, but some of these other drivers are rightfully thinking about their own battles. It's the 95 and 69, so there's Dev Donnelly and Richard Varley, yeah.
They're not battling though.
No.
Who is battling and who is trying to get a gap is Russ Addy. He's got a bit of lap traffic between him and John Unsby. That's important for him. That drops John Unsby back. This gives Addy the opportunity to try and pull away, but Unsby just gets past through the S's there, so it was worth the try. A bit of a desperate move to try and get that lap traffic between them, and in fact Unsby now coming under serious pressure.
He certainly was for a minute there. A good run from John Morgan at him, but nowhere really to go.
Mike McCormack all battling it out there for 8th place, and for 7th place, should I say. They actually had Krause just lose a position or two on this last lap, so battling just at the tail end of your top 10 as well as going for the podium.
Yeah, and I mean, you can always find Paul Stump on shot there, and he's right at the back of this train. He's already gained 7 positions in this race, so he qualified 19th. Now he's in 12th, but right at the back of the train with 7th place right in sight. And we're looking here, difficult run from Krause. Fiddler right with him through the penultimate couple corners here. Yeah,
he's obviously, if he's not from Yorkshire, he certainly supports the Yorkshire team, Sheffield United there on the nose for Andrew Fiddler. But down into turn number 1, get on the brakes, try and carry the speed out of this corner, because you're going to carry that all the way up through the S's here. And look at the better run that Fiddler gets. Now he doesn't want to catch all the way up through the first part of the S's. That's why he's actually run out, and he actually just got off the throttle a little bit, did Fiddler. But now he's on the throttle, right in the slipstream, looking to make this move.
Yep, and he jumps out, but he is not picking up that toe. He falls back. He's got no overlap going into the bus stop, and the door is slammed shut by Bill Krause. He then pushes a little wide in the middle. They're all stacked up behind him for the minute.
Certainly are. So we've got this great battle then, as I mentioned, for 7th through to 12.
Take a look at second.
Yeah, yes, Russ Addy
Van der Ven started dropping back. I mean, I think Donald Poole's doing about the same pace he's always done. Jos Van der Ven started fading a little bit. He's been caught by Russ Addy and those other 4 cars that we've been keeping our eyes on, Unsby, Morgan, Fitterer. So now, look at that, lap after lap. Van der Ven's just been in the 42s, 43s, while all these other guys have been doing low 42s.
Yeah, that is, again, it's 2 races in a row. He seems to have a good start, does Van der Ven, but then seems to fall by the wayside. And here comes Addy. He could get the cutback here. He could go for that 2nd place. And he's going defensive. This is how threatened Jos Van der Ven feels, having to go defensive into turn 1. Oh, what a move! Can he make it stick? He has! Get that nose in front. Oh, wow! Look at that. Russ Addy round the outside of turn 1.
That's a unique move if we ever saw it. Now they're stacked up, there is just no room to fit another car in here. Unsby's looking for his opportunity now as well, and he just can't put the car in a place that is gonna help him. He's looking left, he's looking right, he's looking everywhere, and they are stacking up.
I do like that paint of Van der Ven, I will say that, the splattered effect, but yeah, what a move. That was sensational from Russ Addy. I would love to see that again, and I am the person with the power of that, so give me a minute. But I want to see that from Russ Addy's point of view. Hopefully we can get this back. There we go. So we're on board with Russ Addy then. Going to the outside, you think at this point, oh, you can't make the move around the outside. Russ Addy has just proved, yes you can. Around the outside, and that's the position gained.
Yeah, what a move. What a move. And he started to pull away because Van der Ven, cork in the bottle, once again backing everyone up behind him. Unsby, Fitterer and Morgan cannot find a way around. Russ Addy has broken clear 2.5 seconds in, 3/4 of a lap.
Yeah, so obviously Van der Ven has not got on top of this tyre wear that these drivers seem to be suffering with around here this week. John Unsby just a little bit slower through the final corner, so giving a bit of a breathing gap to Van der Ven. But yeah, he just, I don't know what it is, he just doesn't feel, he doesn't seem to be able to take this car the full race distance.
Yep, so lap 12, we're in that second half, and yeah, track temperature's doing exactly what they did for race 1, about 30 in qualifying, 32 degrees Celsius for the start of the race, now climbed up to 36. So maybe something about that just is not suiting Van der Ven, as he's defensive again, and this is where all the time gets lost. He's giving up a car width here, there and everywhere, just trying to keep Unsby behind.
Yeah, as soon as you start defending like that, you're compromising your own line, you're compromising the driver behind, and so on. And before you know it, you've lost a ton of time to the man who's now in second place, and he's running away with it. By the way, Donald Poole is 6.4 seconds in the lead. Oh, catches that curb on the inside of the toe. That's the opportunity that Unsby needed.
Yeah, great stuff to swap back underneath. He's got the inside for the next corner. And that looks solid from Unsby. A little wiggle at the rear of the car, but the car is just perfect for Unsby, who gets himself into third place. Van der Ven drops another spot, and I think is absolutely being shaped up by Fitterer and Morgan.
I think he's a sitting duck right now. I think he's pushed those tyres too early in this race again, and he's feeling the effects of it. And now, I mean, Fitterer was getting a bit wide through the penultimate corner. Is okay. Morgan behind, who we're on board with, pushing into turn number 1, just clipping the grass there was Fitterer. And we know how dangerous that is with this car. Of course, it's on the new tyre model that iRacing is slowly introducing to all the cars. And that grass is like ice, isn't it, if you get on there?
I mean, that's kind of what we heard. This car is a lot better on the track, but not as good on the grass, and it's meant to be a car for the track. So giving up the spot pretty easily there is Fitterer to let John Morgan through to have an attack on Jos van der Ven.
Yeah, so looking forward, Van der Ven is looking at John Unsby. John Unsby's just running his line. He's not having to go defensive there because he feels comfortable having Van der Ven behind him. So Unsby up into third place now. He'll be trying to make a breakaway like Rosadi has done. Look at that. Rosadi's 3 seconds now ahead of John Unsby.
Yeah, so good timing from Addy to get through when he did, and made great use of it. Just keep watching this train here. Van der Ven, John Morgan. Morgan just trying to size it out, find a different line, find a better run somewhere, try and get past.
Yeah, into the penultimate corner. Carry that speed. I know we're focused. Oh, actually, I think we need to just quickly look back at something that's happened. Oh my goodness, McCormick is missing a wheel. What on earth has happened to him here? Let's try and find out, shall we?
3 wheels on the wagon for the number 8 car, and I want to say maybe he spun up the rears coming back on, but we'll see. So he was already in a little bit of his no man's land for himself. It's coming up the hill here. We've seen plenty of people manage to hit the inside wall. What happens for McCormick?
Oh, there we go.
Loses the rear, front left first into the Armco, and it's a good look at the new Cooper tyres there, but they are not rolling and giving him good grip.
I don't think that's the view of the tyres that Mick would have wanted to have given us, but there you go. He's in the pit lane and he managed to rip off the front left there with that. But we've seen so many people make that mistake in that corner in race 1. I'm not surprised to see it again in race 2.
And not just these cars, any cars, it's easily done. Sports Car Open 6 Hours of the Glen, everyone was doing it. So a bit of traffic for our third place train. Fitterer is right with Morgan there, right on him, but sort of gave up that spot earlier, so he's just sort of content where he is. So Unsby not shaking Van der Ven. Van der Ven having a bit of a look, but who is this around? I recognise the car. Andrew Fiddler. It's the exit of the tow.
Yeah, we'll get a look at this one then. Maybe just gone back a little bit too far, but anyway, we'll make sure we get to see it. As actually, we'll stick on a replay after we've seen this, because we're going to have a look at Donald Poole. That's going to be the next view that we have a look at here in this one. He's just gone onto the grass there on the outside, managed to keep it out the wall. The one I'm interested in now is Donald Poole, because look at that. He was the leader. He's down to 29th now. He's taken a tour. Rosadi now leads, and that is what happened.
That is tough. Big lead, and he gives it all up. Penultimate corner, we've seen this one happen before. You chuck the car in, it pushes a little wide and then loops it around, nose first into the barrier. Poole's closed.
Oh, you've been waiting to say that, haven't you? As Donald is now out, so Rosadi leads. Jos van der Ven finds himself now in second place because he's made a move on John Unsby. This is crazy.
Lots of spots gained. Van der Ven's back to where he started the race. In second there, he's got Unsby, Morgan, Fitterer still for company, so a ferocious battle for these guys continues, but somewhere along there, Van der Ven has lined himself up another one. You can see, looking backwards, Unsby's now defending against Morgan.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's getting the pressure from behind his Unsby, so maybe Van der Ven has learnt from race 1. He's still not got the pace of the leader. I mean, the last lap, Rosadi was a 42.2, whereas these guys were 43.3s. So 1.1 seconds slower than your race leader, just for these guys. So, really, the times have not been there for these drivers. But now Unsby under pressure from John Morgan.
Certainly is side by side, defending the inside goes Unsby. Morgan you struggle around the outside there because of the way the camber is. Hello, Gene Moore, rejoining us from the pit entry. Stays out of the way of this battle. Up the hill, this is where that slipstream is mega powerful for these cars. Unsby has a run and he's looking to the outside now. But is he going to get boxed in by traffic ahead, or is it going to help him pick up the speed he wants? I think he's going to swoop around the outside of Unsby, move himself into third.
Yeah, he does. And the thing is, Unsby dropped back to about 9/10 behind Van der Ven. Going into the S's there. Unsby looking to immediately reply. Contact between the two of them. Massive accident. Oh, that wasn't needed, John.
Lot of damage to both of those cars. If it worked, it would have been a genius switchback, but I think he unfortunately gone down the inside for Unsby there, locked it up, pushed wide into the both of them, taking the look once again. The outside to the inside, deep on the brakes, and it just pushes wide, doesn't it?
Yeah, we need the aero shield on these cars, I think, looking at that accident. But, oh my goodness, we've got another car, and it's Donald Fitterer. David Sestella, he's up to third place in this race. This is incredible.
High drama for a lot of the cars in our top 5 then. Doesn't look like there's any damage to Fitterer, but again, this is going to be the only second gear corner on the circuit. So
He's just going in.
Very early indeed, yep. But the plus side is it just gave him more room to save it.
Yeah, he did. That's true, but I said this earlier that David Sestella wanted to get a good result from this race after having a nightmare up at the bus stop chicane. He's currently on the podium here. This is sensational. This is drama-filled, if nothing else. Nobody wants to finish on the podium in this race.
Hardly anyone wants to finish at all. It does seem, but yeah. I mean, staying out of trouble, keeping his nose clean has worked for Sestello. Behind them, Kraus and Granheim, they lost Fiddler, I think it was, who was in the battle with them earlier.
Yeah.
So now it's just these two, and they've been elevated to 4th and 5th.
Yeah, so incredible race. There's 4 laps, or less than 4 laps remaining here from Rosade. It's been high drama, I think is what I would say. It's been high drama and craziness here and mistakes. And so Bruce Granheim having to get off the throttle as well, just to avoid losing the back end. So these drivers are struggling with this car here today.
Yeah, it's lively, that's for sure. And you're seeing that gets loose. The drivers say it's more catchable, but it's still breaking loose in places. So that's all cost Granheim a bit of time. He's not within a second of Kraus no longer. You look a bit further back though, 8th, 9th, 10th. It's Gilman, Kern and Cannell, who been a bit up and down. Not the strongest restart of the championship for him, but here he is in line behind Gilman and Kern, maybe looking to pick up a spot or two, and only got a couple laps left to do so.
Well, this is it.
Rides up on the curb on the way into the S's. That's not optimal.
Yeah, this is it though. This is the beauty of this format of races. You got 2 races, but your best result from the 2 gives you the points into the championship. As here we go, Kern losing the place to Cannell. And Greg Gilman, has actually gone off. He's had contact with a back marker, it seems.
Bunch of damage. Car goes on the tow hook. Cannell gets in that as well. Wind it back. What's going on for that? I mean, we're looking now at the replay for Gilman towards the bus stop. Plenty of cars in front trying to stay out of the way. And behind, you see Cannell trying to make a move.
Oh! Well, that's what happened to Cannell as well. Good grief, it was the 44.
Pin cycle.
Oh, we're going to have we're going to have a look back at this as well, because Cannell was a massive accident. Nothing that he could do there. We won't go on board just for the safety of everybody at home as well, so you don't end up seasick or something. But we're going to slow this one down when we get to the bus stop chicane. He made the move there on Kern, and that's probably the best thing that Bob Kern could have done there, because he gets into the 92 there, and then up and over, and it catches the grass, and as soon as it digs in, up and over, up and over. Wow, that's far from ideal. Is that happening there? But it shows how easy it is to make a mistake and have massive consequences in open wheel cars.
Yep, so 2 laps to go. Russ Addy is your leader. There is just about no battles inside the top 10, so we look to a resurgent John Morgan, who's trying to pick off a couple drivers, and easy move there, Jack Turner. I'm not sure that was particularly fought. I think Jack Turner knew what was coming. See Morgan using all the circuit. Don't get too close to the grass.
Yeah, it's all sort of spread out now, hasn't it, this race after these various incidents. So speaking of, we've got a car going slow, and that's Bob Kern. Now, why is he going slow?
On. You can see the rain light flashing on the back of the car.
He nearly collected somebody. He's on the racing line there. I mean, that's keep it off the racing line. If you, that's the second car that we've had this problem with. So maybe it is something like an engine safe mode or something like that to get them to the pits or something like that.
Was it Kern in race 1 as well, or was it someone else?
No, it was somebody else.
Well, we're going to try and get to the bottom of that one, but it is the final lap of the race. Your leader, Russ Addy, kind of gifted this one, but he fought his way through up into second and now inherited the race lead. He's got a couple seconds in hand over Jos van der Ven. He's got a couple over David Costello. But, I mean, again, if you stay out of troubles, you keep it on the track, you can be well rewarded. Here comes Bruce Granheim trying to size up Bill Krause, who's going to defend like it's the last lap, because it is.
I was about to correct you then, but then you made your point there. But yes, Granheim is putting all the pressure on here on Krause as they're going through the carousel for the final time. What can he do here? Looks to the outside, no move forthcoming there, and he's running out of places to make his final move then. So your leader is heading towards the end of the boot. We'll keep an eye on what he's doing and get him towards the line. But these are battling it out to the end.
Yeah, very wide, very wiggly from Granheim there. Cost himself a little bit of time trying to size up Bill Krause. Pretty sure that left-hander at the top of the hill is going to be your last real opportunity here, and we know how tough that is. Krause is going to cover it just enough that it's going to be tough. But through the final corner, Russ Addy is going to be the winner in race 2 for this opening round of 60 Plus Racing Adventures. He is going to bag the maximum points, and he is going to leave round 1 co-championship leader. Great start for him. This battle back in 4th and 5th. Granheim just cannot get close enough to Krause to put that move on in the final lap. Stump right behind them, also going to come across the line. 3 wide for some other drivers in the background there as well.
Yeah, Urs Muller was actually one of them, battling with Gianni Raspaldo there across the line. So plenty of drivers coming towards the end of their race here, but it's a little bit messy, shall we say, that second race. I know a few of the drivers won't be happy with the performances in that one, but it's all a learning experience, as we've mentioned. New car, you're not used to it, you're not comfortable like you are in the Pro Mazda. I mean, goodness, we had 14 seasons of the Pro Mazda with the 60 Plus Racing Adventures. So, these drivers will have felt at home in that car. They'll have known what to expect. It would have been a muscle memory approach to driving that car. And, John Hunsby actually just making a move on that last lap ahead of Jack Turner. Bill Wright's not that far behind as well, but they'll go across the line in that order. But it's I think a lot of these drivers will be looking at this week and thinking, right, let's go into next week. Forget this week. That's gone. Let's move on to the next one.
Yep, last car across the line there, the 46 of Mark Robertson. He was the last car on the lead lap. And there was only a couple cars on the lead lap there as well. 19 of your 40-something, 48 starters finishing on the lead lap, unfortunately. But when it puts on some good racing, it certainly does. This is the race results, though. Russ Addy, your winner, 4 seconds, ahead of Jos van der Ven, who picks up some valuable points in this race. David Costello then rounding out the podium ahead of Bill Kraus, Bruce Granheim, Paul Stump, Donald Fitterer, Bruce Poole, Kenneth Dummer, and Randy Shoemake in the top 10.
Yeah, Fiddler then. 11th, almost a minute behind John Irons, ahead of John Morgan, the recovering John Morgan there. Ed Jones, John Unsby, another one recovering after his incident with John down in the chute. Bill Wright, Jack Turner, Mike McCormick, who we saw making that mistake, does end up on the lead lap though, and finishes the race in 18th with Mark Robertson, the last of your lead lap runners, in 19th, and Lewis Cannell. Spectacular incident in the bus stop chicane, 1 lap down.
Your next drivers, Bob Kern, David Traynor, Urs Muller, Gianni Rispeldo for the Italian Turtles, Greg Garris in 25th, Carl Bogle 26th, Richard Varley 27th, Barry Hills, Jose Carlos Campodinoco, sure, why not, Michael Bailey 30th, and across the page, some of our last drivers got Charles Gilly, Scott Gallo, Greg Gilman, Wally Molesby, Gene Moore, Dev Donnelly, Larry Thomas, Richard Coulomb, William Lee, Donald Poole in 40th, and then the remainder, Bob Cohen, Mark Lasson, Joel Martin couldn't get the top 10 like he had in race 1. Shame to see. David Riley then in 44th, Remigio de Pasqua from winning race 1, retirement in race 2, but he still takes home those points as a winner this round. Leif Hellberg, Douglas Beasley, and Stefan Rostjen, your last drivers. Well, it's a real jumbled start, I think, to this season of 60 Plus Racing Adventures. Some of the drivers we really expected to be at the tippy top, especially Stefan Rostjen, defending champion, haven't had the start that they quite wanted. The person who has had a good start, Paul, I think we'll go to, is second place finisher in race 2, Jos van der Ven. Do we have you, Jos?
Yes, I'm here, David.
Well, congratulations, second place. That's some good points to start off this 13-week season.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. It was my first race. I met this car, I think, 2 days ago. So I'm happy with the result.
I think we saw both races today that, you qualified pretty well, started the race well, finished the race well, but had a lot of battles in the middle. Were you just looking after the tyres, or why did everyone seem quicker than you between lap 5 and 15?
Well, I think I have to get used to the car and tyre management. I felt halfway the tires began a little bit slippery for me, so I calmed down, and at the end it was better.
What's the balance like for the setup for this car? Is the rear a bit loose, or do you find it's good everywhere?
I moved a few clicks brake bias to the front.
And tell us about battling, the other drivers here, because it looked like, as always, Slipstream is very strong. How do you defend? How do you position your car? What's the... driving one lap fast by yourself is one thing, but to race against everyone, how do you adjust?
Yeah, that's I think the most difficult part of racing. A few guys are very good at it. Lately, I'm not. I think I changed something in my driving style. I'm still looking for it, but I'm not so good as I used to be in defending positions. Yeah, that's difficult.
And we had a look at the schedule for this season at the start of our broadcast. Are there any tracks you're looking forward to? I mean, we're going to finish the championship on the Nordschleife. We've got some ovals between now and then. Do you prefer these, old road courses like Watkins Glen, or do you think a little bit of change is good?
Well, Watkins Glen is one of my favorites. I don't like ovals very much, but I didn't look at the season till now, but you said Nordschleife ending the season. That looks very good. That's one of my favorites too.
Well, yeah, just to round this one out, I mean, quite a couple of the seasons we've broadcast, it's been a battle for the championship between you and Stefan Roestjen. You're definitely ahead of him now after round one. How do you think the championship's going to go for you?
Oh, I'm not sure. I think most drivers have to get used to the car. I also see a very few guys that are also very fast. So, yeah, it's difficult to say. But I hope for a good battle between Stefan and I, and of course all the other guys too.
We hope for that as well with the two more rounds that we're going to broadcast from RaceSpot. Jos, congratulations on the podium and adjusting to the new car for this exciting new season of 60 Plus Racing Adventures. Is there anyone you want to thank?
Of course, I want to thank the guys who keep this league alive. I missed a few seasons, but I want to come back with this new car, and iRacing is making everything better last seasons.
All right, there we go. Thank you so much, Jos van der Ven, our second place finisher in race 2 from Watkins Glen. Paul Smith, rounding out this, racing that we've seen, what's sort of stood out to you as our differences from previous seasons? What are we looking forward to for season 15?
Well, I think Jos hit the nail on the head a little bit there. Drivers learning how this car handles and works. I mentioned it in the commentary that all those drivers have driven that Pro Mazda for years. They will have had that sixth sense as to what that car was doing and would have been able to react to things before it happened or as it happened. Whereas with this car, they're still learning the little foibles, the little nuances of this car to be able to take them forward and be able to push on. And that's why you're seeing a little bit more of a mixed up field to start with. In this opening round. I think by the time we get to Sebring, which is our next broadcast, as you can see up on screen, by the time we get to mid-July, I think these drivers, the order will have settled down a little bit by then, and the drivers will feel more comfortable in the car and feel like they can handle that car a little bit better.
Yeah, indeed. So we do look forward to bringing coverage again, July 15 from Sebring. Bumpy circuit for these cars, but I'm sure they'll go well there. And then, of course, season finale, round 13, the Nürburgring on the, I believe it's the Industriefahrten Nordschleife layout. So that is going to be unique and interesting for these open wheel cars. But hey, Jos van der Ven said he was looking forward to it, so I guess we should as well. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to this new season of 60 Plus Racing Adventures from RaceSpotTV here. As you can see, people we need to thank, Istvan Baloff, Track Cams 22, Paul Smith behind the cameras. I've been David Haynes. Thank you so much. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.